Now, lost in all the craziness today is something that came out on Twitter earlier this morning, an interview with Mikko Rantanen of the Colorado Avalanche, who had some words to say about Jesse Puljujarvi, friends. This is Dolynny TV. Good evening, good afternoon, good tomorrow, wherever you're tuning in from. I'm Tyson as we get set to discuss some Edmonton Oilers news not pertaining to the trade market, but absolutely pertaining to the NHL trade market as we approach the NHL trade deadline. But before we get there, friends, just get up quick in front of your face and ask you, if you're new to the channel, take the rest of the video to consider hitting that subscribe button here on Dolynny TV. Love to have you aboard. We've just crossed 10,800 of us crazy Oilers fans all congregating here on Dolynny TV to talk Oilers day in, day out, so I'd love to have you aboard if you'd be so kind. But yes, today Mikko Rantanen, an interview came to light via Mary Lundberg's Twitter account, which if you don't follow on Twitter is a fantastic source for everything and all things Jesse Puljujarvi, might I add. And obviously today that was a retweet that came to surface, and it was just an interview excerpt with Mikko Rantanen on, I think, the Total NHL Forever podcast or something is the name of where this information came from. But apparently it's somewhere out there that Mr. Jesse Puljujarvi coming out and being a name of recognition here in this podcast. Let me bring up this transcript for you. A year ago, Avalanche executive asked Joe Sakic asked Rantanen if Lehkonen would fit in with the team, and this is what Mr. Mikko Rantanen had to say. Our management wants to know exactly what kind of person he is. Does he fit? I know that Sakic has been very meticulous about what kind of person someone is off the ice. It seems that it has had a big impact on our leadership. We don't just take anyone because they can play. If they don't fit in our locker room and culture. According to Rantanen, Puljujarvi would fit in with the team. The friends who won the World Junior Gold Medal together have stayed in touch during this season as well. Listen, I've been thinking the exact same thing, said Finnish NHL star Mikko Rantanen in the Total NHL Forever podcast. I knew it was in there somewhere. There it is. I know what a great guy Jesse Puljujarvi is. I would welcome him with open arms. It would be a fresh, new start for him here with a good dressing room and good support around him. I believe it would definitely work, Rantanen continued. Earlier this year when we were in Edmonton, Jesse and I went out to eat together. He's a really great guy. Good guy. Same thing. And a good friend. A nice and fun guy, Rantanen praises. I was going to say poises. That doesn't make sense. And that is the end of me having to read any articles for you because the reading comprehension at 8:23 in the evening, not so great. But that again, there we go, right? The Oilers pretty patient in making trades. The Vegas Golden Knights made a pretty big one today to free up $7 million in cap space. Oh, and by the way, guess what? Those Colorado Avalanche just activated Eric Johnson, I believe it is, on LTIR. Somehow they magically have $7 million of cap space left. While they now are big game hunting as well in this NHL trade deadline market. Here's the thing. For the Oilers in a Jesse Puljujarvi trade to the Colorado Avalanche, does it make much sense? No. Is it something that could definitely happen? Yes. How it happens is a completely different question. I think today the excitement was, well, maybe Jesse Puljujarvi could be traded to the Colorado Avalanche. And while that seems like a likely scenario based on Rantanen giving a few nice sentences about Puljujarvi, I think it's much more likely that such a move would happen in the off season, right, where the Colorado Avalanche can get their own cost certainty instead of having to get Jesse in here midway through a playoff run, see what happens. But again, here's the other side to that coin, is if you know what Jesse is and you want him on your team already, why not grab him now and go deep in the playoffs with him, especially like the advanced analytics say he's one of the best defensive forwards in the NHL. Why would you not want to use that in a playoff run if you're the Colorado Avalanche looking to repeat, right? And especially knowing you're going to run up potentially again against the Edmonton Oilers, where it could really count for all the marbles in the rematch from last year's Western Conference Finals. Why would you not want to have a leg up on your competition like Jesse Puljujarvi is on the paper sheets with the defensive analytics? So that's where we say, right? Jesse Puljujarvi could be a very valuable chip at this NHL trade deadline simply because of what he brings in a different facet of the game that's maybe not as appreciated in Edmonton because of goal scoring and winning above all. But for the Oilers and Jesse Puljujarvi, it would kind of serve as that fresh start and salary cap clearing move, especially for the Avalanche too. If they're looking to get somebody like Patrick Kane or anybody out there on the trade market, is I think the big thing for the Avalanche, the Golden Knights, and the Oilers will be the third party broker, right? So a guy coming in like Patrick Kane, yeah, he might carry a 5.25 cap hit when he's traded to you originally, but then you trade him over there to the Minnesota Wild, whatever, for a little bit of retention kind of scenario like the Ryan O'Reilly trade. Minnesota's a bad example, but the Arizona Coyotes, anybody involved, the Anaheim Ducks to an extent, you can indeed go out there and get some retention. And suddenly, you know what, 25% on Patrick Kane brings you down another 1.25. So suddenly you're at 4 million. And oh my goodness, look at the math that I quickly just threw your way. That, yeah, suddenly the Colorado Avalanche can afford Patrick Kane and a Jesse Puljujarvi at full salary. So that's kind of the situation here for the Oilers. Is I think there might be now, based on today's moves, a couple more NHL GMs looking to get creative. And with a guy like Rantanen vouching recently for Jesse Puljujarvi to be a Colorado Avalanche member at some point, well, right, that kind of raises eyebrows this time of year, and I don't see why we wouldn't at least talk about it a little bit here. And obviously for the Oilers, what are you expecting from the Avalanche in return for Jesse Puljujarvi? Probably nothing, right? Is the biggest assets the Oilers can get in terms of a Jesse Puljujarvi trade is using his salary in or out for other salary in. And with the Colorado Avalanche, who are loading up for a playoff run, you're not getting salary in from the Colorado Avalanche to make anything work. In fact, you're just probably getting a low-end draft pick, right? This is, if anything were to happen with the Colorado Avalanche, this would be the low-end draft pick play for the Edmonton Oilers. So that's where we sit after another crazy day of Oilers news, right? There was a bunch of news across the NHL that had ramifications down to the Edmonton Oilers, and now this one kind of the other side. The Oilers out to the Avalanche with Jesse Puljujarvi potentially maybe in the offseason when Jesse gets traded or DFA'd or whatever the term is, not tendered. Not qualified. Not qualified is the word. Lots of baseball terms in there. Sorry, apologies. It is only a few days until spring training, but you get where I'm going, friends. It's another day, another dollar here in Edmonton Oilers land, and Jesse Puljujarvi still in the news and will remain in the news for the foreseeable future, I am sure. Like I said in the earlier video, we're only 10 days away from the trade deadline, and Ken Holland might still have something hopefully to do before that trade deadline is up and done. Friends, I'm Tyson. This is Dolynny TV. I'm up on out of here.